on your role? It's a question that we often ask ourselves. What should I be doing with my career, with my time, with my skills? And at the end of the day, our role comes down to two things: what you do and how you do it. And it might be multifaceted. It might be many things that you do. There are many things that you might do as a father or as a mother, but it culminates to you being a father or a mother. Might be many things that you do and being a lawyer, a musician, a founder of a business, an amazing VP of finance for a company in your city that has many, many tasks within that role, but they ladder up to ultimately that role that you play. What you do and how you do it. What you do and how you do it. What does this philosophy say about our role, about what we do and how we do it? Well, this timeless philosophy says in the first bucket, what we do should align with our Swadharma, which is the Sanskrit word for our nature. And cultivating an awareness of your nature, what you're wired for, that can take some time. It's often done by just saying, think about a world where money is no objection to whatever you want to pursue. You have, let's think of what is the most amount of money you'd ever want. Then double it. Then spend 5 minutes journaling of what would you do with your time? What is it that lights you up? What is it that when you do it, you lose track of time doing it? And what we've said before in previous episodes is, what is something that you would do if no one knew you did it? If there was no prestige or social value, you just did it because you intrinsically loved it. That helps us answer what we do. Not how we do it, but what we do. And it is said in this philosophy, it is better to die in your Swadharma than live in your Paradharma. It is better to die if you are called to go serve in the army for some just or righteous war. It is better to die doing that than to live in your Paradharma, where you live out a life for decades and decades doing something that you're not wired for, that kills your soul, that is not of service to those around you. Because when we lean into our Swadharma, it is liberation for our souls. It's liberation for those around us, because you become, it's 200 years ago and you thought, I want to be the village doctor. That's the most prestige around. You try that. It's never really natural to you. You never figure out, why don't people love me and being the doctor? And then you say, throw up your hands in this made up example and you say, okay, I'm just wired to work with metal, to work alone, not having to interact with the sick. And I'm just wired. I love that, making the best metal works I possibly can. And you become this phenomenal blacksmith that the entire community will never let go anywhere, because they love your service so much. And then you end up with the love, prestige that you had actually given up years prior, when you thought, okay, well, I'm not going to have the social prestige of the local doctor, but I will be doing what I am wired for. This is a complex topic for many of us when you feel like you have these worldly obligations or things that you want to be able to afford, and you have to triangulate the commercial value of what you're doing, the risks of not being able to make it. And that is so just all unnecessary, beside the point to what this is saying. Those are all the bypasses to our responsibility that we can make by not truly understanding that what we do is optimally aligned with what is the best service, the highest service to those around us. But that's what this philosophy says about what to do. Your role is to lean in and align with your nature. And instead of just feeling like there's 5 roles on the shelf, lawyer, doctor, stay-at-home parent, teacher, instead of thinking there are 5 roles, you wake up and you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and you realize, holy shit, there's like 500 roles. I don't know how I even fell into this role. I didn't know this was a role. This wasn't a role 10 years ago, 20 years ago. When I was a kid, this job didn't exist. And now I am in a groove in life because I leaned into what I was wired for. That's on what to do, on how to do it. This philosophy is equally clear. Do it in service of those around you. You could lean into your Swadharma of being a musician and then say, I can't wait to be up on stage and 5,000 people are chanting my name. And you make all of these decisions in your path towards that. This philosophy, if there's a tagline you could put on a rock for daily application, it would be this: it's not what you do, it's what you do it for. And it isn't just what you do that makes up your role, the ideal role, the optimal role for all of us to align our lives with. It isn't just what you do, it's what you do it for. And the answer of what you do it for is, well, it's a question. Is it for your selfish benefit? Or is it for unselfish? Or even ideally, selfless service? And that will be a topic for another episode of breakdown what this philosophy says between selfish, unselfish, and selflessness, which are 3 separate categories when it comes to action. But for shorthand for this topic of what are you doing it for? To complete this topic of your role, what you do, and that being your nature and what you do it for, that being service to those around you, unselfish action. What is the fruit of fulfilling your role? Well, this philosophy is explicit, telling us not to think, to have no thoughts of the fruit. But in the same text, like the Bhagavad Gita, where it says to not spend any time thinking about the fruit because it corrupts the action itself. Not because it's just off limits, but thinking about the fruit. Think about, if we win this basketball game, then I'm going to get this. That corrupts your ability to go into that game and win, to do your best. That corrupts the action that can lead to any fruit. But there is a line in the 18th chapter, this concept that when we surrender to a duty-bound existence, immediate peace follows. Surrender to a duty-bound existence and immediate peace follows. So, as we humans tend to do, still thinking about the fruit, you can think about it in terms of when we play our role. If you entertain this idea of what this philosophy says about playing our role within our society. The upside is immediate peace. Immediate and permanent peace. In fact, anything that gets in the way of that peace is some selfish thought, that agitation that you feel when you think, this isn't paying off like I wanted it to. You catch yourself realizing, I'm thinking about the fruits. I'm thinking about what I'm getting out of this. I'm sabotaging the service that I can provide to my community. Corrupting the action, the service itself. But when we play our role, we are guaranteed. Take it or leave it, might not believe it, but we are guaranteed that peace will follow. That's today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.